welcome back to Galeal. It is World Building Wednesday with Ben, and my friend, I think we have a TPK on our hands. It is, well, honestly, if your hands are paint free, you should pull up Foundry and you should just look at the active scene. I think I have a way to save them without Deus Exing the fuck out of the situation. But they've also all seemed pretty stoked to write up new characters. And I'm pretty stoked at the storyline that those new characters are kind of generating towards. So, um, yeah, and I mean, they could, because spoilers, if anybody in the campaign is watching, earmuffs for a second, but I'm not actually going to kill them. The characters are going to remain alive. One or more may die. Drusilla is dead, and she is not coming back. Um, yeah. Um, okay. Mm-hmm. Cutscene dead. In fact, are you loaded? Okay. All right. Well, while that's loading up, oh, go ahead. Kind of. So, while they were on a fact-finding mission in Lakeside, they stumbled onto the fact that Sam's bakery, Stasi the baker, is Ramona's mom. And I don't know if you remember what Stasi looked like, but feel free to pull her up in the actors tab. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Um, Brother Bonk and Ziegel have both already fallen twice. Th- This line here, the top part of it is a heat wall, which is doing 5d6 fire damage, although it's heat, not fire. And it is radiating that damage within the larger rectangle. The troll is not your typical acid fire troll. They have already stopped his regeneration, which was ice based, but the weakness is divine, and they don't really have access to it. And then, but I do have a way out for them. And then I have a failure state other than actual TPK. But the players aren't necessarily going to know that because if they all end up going unconscious, we're just going to switch over to the other characters. Um, Now, I don't know if the other characters are going to be interested in coming after these ones or going another way entirely. I haven't really figured out how to put them on the scent of coming after these guys if they so wanted to do. Um, I still have them gathering in Aliara, and each of them has a little tie-in that is kind of related to why they're in Aliara at the moment, and kind of revolving around the Snake Lady. But we have a potential opening to the Empire of Jade storyline, including that pocket dimension, which um, also opens up Camille for more investigation aside from just the Council of Elves, Council of Races aspect. Um, Go ahead. One is a human, one is a Knoll, and the other one is a Nagaji. Kind of, yeah, yeah, and yeah. Although it might actually be the fall of Alaya. He might not even last long enough to launch the war. And I did figure out something regarding the whole, as you were mentioning, like the nobility's armies and whatnot, with my ideas of until he actually receives the crown as king, whatnot, and all of that, didn't have full control. So he can institute and has instituted a city draft among those residents within Aliar. But until he is king, he cannot actually do that across the kingdom. How's that sound? And now, that place, which is the hidden casino run by that snake lady, is within the Marquita. And I'm thinking that as far as the upper levels are concerned, um, it is tolerated as long as it doesn't cause too many problems because it is understood that people need the distraction. You can't. It's going to exist regardless. Might as well just have just one. Um, so that would be one of the things that the Marquis family has as far as their leverage and a leg up on the other houses. I also pictured that they kind of have a little bit of a uh, kind of rotating uh, prestige boost based on who, which house provided the current queen or the most previous queens. I thought that might be an interesting avenue to pursue. Well, maybe, maybe not. Depends on exactly how things go. It could end up collapsing into civil war between the five houses, or it could not. Quite possibly. Quite possibly. So I'm thinking Qualo and all of these kobolds are creations of Shai. So is the troll. And what Qualo was trying to talk sense into Arcticus as they were investigating Lakeside and seeing all of these kobolds, talking to a couple of them, talking to the hobgoblins that were blacksmithing away, and Qualo was trying to talk Arcticus into talking to the kobolds and maybe trying to turn them now that Shai is no longer here, and their uh, kind of response was, "Oh, shit, have you seen that bitch? She's fucking scary." Um, but if they had, pushed that a little harder, then they probably could have made some headway there, and that was just totally missed. But I think that I can get away with as these two go down a final time. Qualo, or actually at the like when we resume play, Qualo can yell out to the kobolds, and then the kobolds talk to the troll, and then they don't die. That sounds very Deus Exy. The other version is because she can absolutely, from this point, still kill every single one of them if she wanted to. They did not realize, and they picked a fight with Stasi. Um, they picked the fight with Stasi, and then it became apparent that the portal, the teleportation circle that was currently active at that moment within Sam's Bakery, where the kobolds were going back and forth from Sam's Bakery to the graveyard, where they were stacking up crates in the graveyard, and they were coming in as the crates were coming through the teleportation circle. Well, Drusilla saw it, and she knew that Viara is on the other side of that portal somewhere. And she resisted as long as she could. I kept rolling for it, but eventually her will broke, and she tried a dope ass acrobatics move because tight spaces, and she got past the team and she got past Stasi, and she just screamed out for Viara as she like somersaulted and fucking dive rolled her way past Stasi and onto the teleportation circle and disappears. No, they had already picked the fight with Stasi because Arcticus went in there kind of huffing and puffing and starting to make some accusations about her daughter and talking some shit that she didn't like, and then trying to inspect the cases that are coming in. And she's like, "That's not for you, sir." And then she just kind of steps in front, and then more along the lines of. Uh, Well, you know who Mom is, right? You helped me build her. Look at her stat block. Pull it up. I sent you this Dungeon Dad video. She is a pie fiend. Yes, she is a literal devil. Yes. And the other option is I mean, she just takes them all down unconscious and then imprisons the survivors, basically. Well, yeah, and it means that there's something there to come back to if they so choose, or there is a potential rescue attempt. No, Shy Shout, yeah. I do also have the Shy Shout ace in the hole that I could choose to use to intervene, but I feel like that one's even clunkier. And then Lurith, yeah. Lurith is not with them. She found out that Sam's Donut Bakery or Sam's Bakery donuts were fried in bacon fat, and she ran outside and started puking. So she missed a lot of the further conversation, and there wasn't all that much sounds of battle before everybody was through the portal. Um, so I'm having Crackle the moment that Arcticus fell unconscious. Crackle took off from his little hidey hole and is going down the steps through the portal out or the teleportation circle out to let Lurith know. And then Lurith has not used her necklace this week, and so she will be able to Nelly Furtado and turn into a bird and fly to go let Micah know. So there is like that very faint line that could potentially be followed for the players to go and rescue their own characters. Like they'll be out and about on like day 2 or 3 of their adventuring, and or sorry, no, day 2 or 3, session 2 or 3 of their adventuring, and find a little yellow bird. It would also be hilarious for Kyla to step in with this group. Nice. That makes absolute sense to me. All right, so on the Galeal cam, we have Cremiel. Cremiel is our forest side. Yes, Lurthus Stevens. He has not been super communicative uh since this with and I've been building new characters with the other ones, so I don't know if he wants to do a new character, if he wants to keep Lurth in, or what, but Lurth was separate from the party. There is also the possibility that Lurth comes charging through the portal, which is somewhat unlikely, but no, she did not transform yet. Yeah, probably. Okay. Wow. Wow, that was terrible, Rick. We have a hole in the bottom of or a hole in the world towards the south end of Cremiel, inspired by the actual hole in the world in Borneo and the movie Sanctum. Um, and I figure the giants on this side, our cloud giants, they basically they piss rainbows and they shit uh fertilizer that is so raw and powerful that it just kind of burned everything before vibrantly sprouting. And so when they made their deal with the elves and whatnot as part of it, they kind of actually they had already kind of done it. The like in the process of making their land, realizing that it's just kind of their communal outhouse. It's just right there, and so it's fucking burning through. But it's just the most amazing lush vegetation and fucking insane, crazy fucking cave system. No, I don't spend way too much time thinking about this stuff at all. Um, Empire of Jade was somewhere near the Inland Sea, right? For our little demiplane thing. Yeah, that is where the dot was, but we can move it. Where do you think we want to put it? precisely why it is important, because this, sir, is World Building Wednesday, where we fix that problem. I'm actually thinking one of these where the rivers merge. It has that entire demiplane, which is as large as we make. No, they really don't. They try and avoid outside of the demiplane for the most part. Yeah, 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 which is not a whole hell of a lot at the moment because the side is relatively unpopulated. Yeah, pretty much. Of course, they'd have gnomes and halflings with them and shit like that. Yeah, although probably not a whole lot of them here because they did side with the humans. Do we want to put the Empire of Jade connected to the big hole? I think that's where we could be harvesting our growing metal, and that's how we can tie all of that together. Because our Nagadi, sorry, I think that's how we can tie it to the grown super metal that we were talking about way back when can be sourced from this hole where that fertilizer is. That is the surface-ish part of their empire, but it's not actually surface, it's closer to the Underdark. But it's still like sunlight surface. So we can put them there. Um, gotcha. That's always fun. So I can get them all to the snake lady fairly easily, and I can make that take up to probably 2, 3, 4 sessions pretty easily. I wouldn't say four. It'd probably be 3 shitty sessions if I tried to push it that far. I mean, I'm pretty happy with the plot line that we've got. I'm just trying to make some of the holes a little less glaring. Um, because this is the most developed area. I'm perfectly fine with going elsewhere, but I think it's better to start here, especially since it's also what the players are familiar with already. But we're going to have a cleric of Abadar. Darius's god, the super law god, which means we might actually have opportunity to bring in Darius and or Kofio. Yeah, yeah, probably not. Then again, some people aren't. Like that's kind of the whole point. It's a living, breathing world where assholes abound. Doesn't mean that he's going to be a part of the party. Also doesn't mean that he's going to be level fucking 50 or 97. Also doesn't mean that he's not. Yeah, because if I build him now, then that becomes the evidence that he is going to make a showing. Yeah, they never did find our little petrified tiny sorcerer. So that's still going to be floating around the world somewhere. I thought it was somewhere around there, 50 something. And then we do need to legally distinctify Abadar. 56. Yep, 50 something. And a fucking ridiculous 50 something at that. Yeah, sounds about right. Yeah, yeah, and Karnov has some really cool, really weird effects. We should figure out how to make that in Foundry for a Pathfinder class because it actually works kind of similarly to the Alchemist and the Inventor. And I think that there's a way that we could kind of template off of those, particularly the Alchemist, with the infused reagents. Um, cool. Yeah, I dig it. I do kind of like the idea of tackling that from a Pathfinder perspective. Fuck it, let's item create item uh class. Alrighty, you have yourself a great night. Thank you for joining. Will do. You too. Bye. Create item. Breathe there are done. Okay. Foundry. Ability. Class. There. But we're not doing that right now because we got to do some other shit. Okay. Not finding what we're looking for. All right, y'all, I'm gonna go ahead and call it here as well. Thank you very much for hanging. Catch you next time around. We'll see you tomorrow night for the live play, the Tudor Saga, maybe being renamed. We shall see.